Dear friends, thank you for being here. Your time, your focus, and your presence are gifts I can never measure. I hope this tale pulls you in, lingers with you, and makes you feel each breath and heartbeat of what comes next. She thought she was being playful, a harmless joke. Instead, she vanished, and I lost her for an entire year. Was it truly her fault, or was it fate playing with me? The morning began like any other. The phone buzzed against the kitchen counter, its glow cutting to the pale sunlight creeping past the blinds. I picked it up, expecting the familiar good morning, love. Instead, the message was chillingly brief. Gone for a while. Don't wait. My stomach dropped. At first, I laughed nervously, thinking it was just another one of her pranks. She loved tricks, mischief, and teasing. But something in that moment felt different. Thick, heavy, wrong. I can still see it clearly. The chip mug she bought me last Christmas, catching the light, the silence in the apartment suddenly pressing against me like a weight. I called her, straight to voicemail. Again and again, nothing. That was when panic set in. She had always been playful, yes, but never cruel. Never like this. I checked our shared email, certain I'd find some half-smiling note waiting. Just kidding. See you at lunch. But there was nothing. Nothing but the hollow ache of absence. Days blurred into weeks. I kept telling myself she was staging something elaborate, something that would eventually lead to laughter, but nights were unbearable. Lying in a bed, still carrying the faint trace of her perfume, I felt the walls closing in. Her laughter echoed in my head. Just a week earlier, she had leaned close, brushing back her hair, whispering, "I like seeing you worried. It makes you human." Back then, it was sweet. Now it mocked me. My disbelief curdled into suspicion. I started re-examining everything. Every text, every offhand comment, every time she'd gone quiet. I hated myself for it, but I even dug into her social media. That's when the hints appeared. A photo with a stranger I'd never met. A check-in somewhere she said she hadn't been. Tiny details, but together they painted a truth I couldn't ignore. By the third week, my chest felt like it was caving in. Sleep broke into restless fragments. Every shadow carried questions I couldn't answer. And then she came back. I'll never forget it. She appeared at the door one evening, soaked in rain, hair plastered to her face. Her eyes were wide, like she'd seen a ghost. "I told you not to wait," she whispered. Her voice trembled. I wanted to scream, to demand everything she had hidden. But all I could manage was a single, broken question. "It's not a joke, is it?" She shook her head. Tears cut down her cheeks. The truth unraveled painfully, like threads from a wound. She hadn't vanished into thin air. She had left with someone else. A man I didn't know. Lies had carried her there. Small, casual lies stitched together until they made a net that trapped me in blindness. The betrayal crushed me. I wandered through our home like a ghost, touching her abandoned things, her shampoo, her throw blanket, the notebook where she had once scribbled love notes to me. Every object cut deeper. Grief soon twisted into anger. I wanted to tear the truth out of her, but by the time she returned, rage had hardened into something colder. Patience. I studied her words, caught the cracks in her stories, the guilt in her eyes. The puzzle assembled itself without her permission. I had trusted her blindly. That blind faith had been my undoing. Months crawled by before I could speak to her, without breaking apart. She begged, offered excuses, loneliness, confusion, reckless choices. I listened. I weighed her humanity against the ruin she had left me in. Love doesn't vanish with betrayal. It mutates, burns, scars. After nearly a year of silence, reflection, and slow healing, I met her one last time. The park where we'd once picnicked was now glowing with autumn leaves, fire-colored and restless in the wind. "I've thought this through," I told her quietly. "You chose. I endured, and I survived." She looked at me, tears shining, as though she finally understood what she had destroyed. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't curse. I simply turned and walked away. Each step lightened me, as if the past year was peeling off my skin. Some people call it destiny. Others call it a mistake. She named it a prank that spiraled out of control. But in the end, None of those labels mattered. What mattered was survival. I carried the memory of her laughter, her betrayal, but I refused to let it chain me. As the sun bled into horizon, painting the sky in fire and ash, I realized something simple but profound. Some stories aren't meant to be rewritten. They're meant to be endured. Some pain exists to shape us, to teach us that trust is fragile, love is powerful, and fate, whether cruel or kind, always has a final word.